Oh, look at this. What the? All over my fucking cat hair. (1982), holy cow, what a year for horror movies and Blade Runner. But we had The Thing, we had Halloween 3, we had Basket Case, Friday the 13th Part 3, Cat People, what else? The Thing. Like, the list goes on and on and on, right? One film, however, really stands out in my heart amongst all the others from 1982, and that is the George Romero classic Creepshow. Wow, even I'm freaking out at the sight of what's sitting here in the middle of the mask room. Like, this is so cool. First of all, I had to bust out the Creepshow standee once again. That's an original theater standee, an original rolled one sheet, real deal, professionally framed for my enjoyment. And then the cool quad poster. Is that a quad poster? Sure looks like it. With that cool dude, this artwork, I've always loved this poster. And God, I wish I had more wall space. I have so many framed posters upstairs ready to hang up. It's crazy. We're repainting the living room at some point, so they're kind of just leaning against walls everywhere. I may be doing a video soon on one sheets that I have. Some of them, a lot of them are rolled up. I got like 200 rolled one sheets, but I have a bunch that are displayable, we'll say, and we're able to look at. So maybe we're going to do a video on those before Halloween time. But all right, enough non-Creepshow talk. Back to Creepshow. We showed you these posters. There's some posters upstairs I will show you before the end of this video that are absolute original Creepshow posters. And of course, you know where you're at. You're at the Crimson Ghost Mask Room, and we talk about masks. So so tonight we're looking at the amazing Creepshow masks that I've accumulated here. Talk about who made them and what some of these blank ones are, because they are quite special. those blank ones can be more special than the rest. Pretty wild what's sitting here in front of us. So let's dig right in. Of course, the amazing special effects were done by Tom Savini. The creature design, the special effects production on two of the greatest segments of Creepshow, the two best stories out of the whole film, in my opinion, are the ones they made masks of, okay? The Crate and Father's Day. They're all kind of mixed up here, but my God. Those two stories, like, we watched Creepshow in the theater the other night on the big screen. We had a private showing, and my God, it's funny because I recently read some website out there. They ranked all of the Creepshow segments from best to worst, or worst to best. And I'm like, who came up with this list? It was horrible. They were putting a lot of the stuff, Creepshow 2 stuff above the Creepshow 1 stuff. It was, me and my friend both shook our heads like, who the hell came up with this list? Some weird Gen Z freakazoid came up with that shit. So anyway, back to the masks here. Tom Savini's original movie molds were used to make Halloween masks by 3 companies. 1, 2, 3, okay? One was Distortions Unlimited. The second one was Death Studios. And the third was Topstone Industries. Studying some of these, you're going to notice that some look a little more primitive than the rest, right? These two beautiful pieces here are probably... That's absolutely the best Nate ever produced. Both of these are direct descendants from Tom Savini molds. So the characters look exactly like they're supposed to, just like they did on the film. Of course, the colors are a lot different. What I love about, I told Ed this recently when we were talking at Mask Fest. I said, what I love so much on your Creepshow Crate Beast, aka Fluffy, right here, is the weird color you chose to paint them. That weird silvery blue color. All the years you guys knew me as a big Don Post collector, I had a few Distortions pieces here come and go over the years, but man, I would always see the Creepshow pieces in the old pictures, and I said, man, look at the color on that Crate Beast. I always wanted one so bad. And when I met Frank, I could not believe he had one sitting there on the shelf. Frank actually had little red lenses in the eyes of this one, and he had little tiny light, like LED light bulbs behind the eyes. I don't think they were LEDs. They were from the 80s, whatever you call those little lights, the little tiny ones. But had a little battery hookup, and he would turn the red lights on in the eyes of that mask. Some of the most beautiful versions of Creepshow masks came from Distortions Unlimited. Ed used some foam masters right from Tom Savini's molds, and these masks are very rare today. The Creepshow Distortions pieces are very, very hard to get. Guys keep trying to get this Fluffy out of my hands, and there's no way in hell I want to ever sell that piece. And it's funny because after acquiring Frank's, you know, certain things that were Frank's, I never want to get rid of. You know, it's like they'll be here until the end. So after acquiring Frank's Creepshow pieces right here, these they're gorgeous. They're absolutely pristine examples. That's probably the best Fluffy that's known in the hobby that I've ever seen. Not too long after getting those and getting them foam filled and making sure they're going to be preserved for many years, I stumbled across an actual foam master, a Distortions Unlimited foamed master right from Tom Savini's molds. And I stumbled across an original Fluffy foam master that was used by Distortions Unlimited to produce their Crate Beast head, their Fluffy head. Talk about scoring something quite rare and quite amazing. I could not believe this fell into my hands. One thing to take note when looking at all of these different versions of the Fluffy, and I'm going to talk about all of them, but you'll notice the Distortions version, the mouth is closed, okay? There are no teeth showing at all. And if you look at old pictures of Tom posing with his Creepshow creations, you'll notice there were different heads for sure that he made. Closed mouth and open mouth versions of Fluffy. And so these mask makers were able to use those different versions to produce these pieces. And Ed chose to use the closed mouth version of Fluffy. That's one dead giveaway that foam master was the Distortions used foam master. And I was talking with Jordu Shell recently. I had that with me when I was visiting Ed's factory, and Jordu was looking at it, and he thought it could be a second generation master from Tom's original. He said Tom's original was massive, you know. He goes, that's probably a second generation down from the original Fluffy, but it still has amazing size. I'm going to move it out and show you better detail on that thing. But in my years of collecting, I've never seen anybody come up with a Creepshow foam master of Fluffy. It is crazy that was sitting in a collection I bought. And at first I thought it was just a blank. I thought it was just a blank copy of one of these. And no, it's a foam master. So speaking of blanks, we're going to talk about that one next. One characteristic that tells you that this is a foamed master is the black areas on it. That is where the latex was repaired in spots, and they were continually going to use this to make new molds, but they had to repair little areas of this foam master so it would still be usable. And it's got incredible detail. Just look at that. that mask sitting right there could be a direct descendant of this master. From the mold made off of that master, I should say. But pretty cool. And what's cool about this is you can see little details that you'll never see on the mask. Like, there's like little veins here in Tom's sculpture, and a lot more detail in the ears. Just cool stuff that you're not going to see when they're covered with hair. Really, really cool. To me, this is one of the coolest things I've ever found in my years of collecting masks. So yeah, finding that foam master was crazy. Not only is it for a very rare mask, but it is for one of the characters from one of my favorite monsters from one of the best horror films ever made, Creepshow. So on to that blank back there. What is that? Here's a quick story. A long time ago, I'm hanging out with Frank in the Frankenstein, and there was these metal cabinets, like double door metal cabinets in the back of this basement room. And it's this collection room, there's just stuff everywhere. I mean, everywhere. From models to masks to graveyard tombstones and skeletons, and it was insane. A life-size figure is in there, and I go, what's in that cabinet? Because I would hang out with Frank all day, and we could go through all these cool things he had, you know? And I'm thinking, he's got so much cool shit. There's got to be even more cool shit in that cabinet. So I go, what's in that cabinet back there? He goes, well, the way Frank spoke, either we were yelling and arguing at times, or he would speak very, very, you know, proper and soft with me. And he goes, well, there are some special blank castings in that cabinet. And I'm like, what? Is there? He goes, yes, I haven't been there in many, many years. And so apparently this metal cabinet was closed, and he built up a cemetery in front of it with tombstones. This is in his basement. Tombstones and skeletons. And this thing was closed probably since 1998. And I'm like, we're moving that graveyard. So I had to move this entire graveyard, and I open these cabinet doors, and what is staring me right in the face? A real deal Nate Blank, straight out of Tom Savini's freaking mold. So now I'm freaking out. I'm like, Frank, please sell me this blank. 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 I bought some other blanks that were in this cabinet. This is going way back. One was the John Smith Medusa that Casey Love painted. That blank was in that cabinet. I'm like, holy shit, look at these blanks. So, got all the blanks out of there as of recently, and I finally brought home the Tom Savini Creepshow Nate blank, which we're going to take a closer look at. We're going to take a closer look at him in a minute, and I actually showed this to Tom at a show. Let me get it out, okay? Look at that. How cool is that? So I showed, when I say I showed this to Tom at a show, I showed him a photo of it on my phone. I had pictures of it. I don't know where we were, but I was there and Tom Savini was there. And I said, Tom, is this out of your mold? And he looked at it, and 10 seconds later he goes, yep. I'm like, okay. And later on, after I brought it home, I took even better photos of it, showed it to my friend Justin Mabry, and he had an old blank too. This is a vintage pull. This is nothing new. I'm guessing this probably came from God knows where, somewhere in the 80s. You know, I don't know if, you know, who would have had Tom's. Who could have given a blank of this to Frank back then? Ed had molds, you know, the Creepshow molds back then. It could have been a blank. It was definitely if you notice, a lot of this was trimmed off for the distortions piece. You see how that it's nice and curved there. These little mold things, these are from the mold, these two little divots. So they trimmed those off, you know, and they went up and just went right under the shoulder bones here and carved that away. But that could have been from Ed. Who knows? Ed could have sent this casting to Frank back in the day. I don't know. I don't know how Frank could have got his hands on a blank from Tom Savini's mold. That's a good question. I imagine there's not too many of these floating around anymore, you know. I wonder if Tom even has a mold of this. Who knows? But so cool that is here. And I plan on finishing this thing 100% after I do something with it. I am going to finish this thing. He's not going to stay blank forever. That is not getting finished. That is going to stay a blank foam master, but this guy will be finished off. I always wanted a really nice Nate. Not that that's an incredible Nate, but I wanted a full shoulder, you know, awesome Nate, and now I'm going to have one. On with the show. This brings us to one of the best fluffies ever in Halloween mask world, and that is the version from Jeff Death at Death Studios. Jeff absolutely made some of the coolest fluffies of all time. Quite different than Ed's because the mouth is wide open, showing those great teeth. That classic Crate Beast look. Look at this fine example of a Death Studios fluffy. This is one mask that Death Studio guys are chomping at the bit for these days, hoping and praying that Jeff brings them back at some point. This particular one happens to be pretty amazing. I wonder, this was Frank's, of course, and I think this could be a catalog copy. I think he's got some extra hair in places that most production copies did not have them. The paint up and the hair work is just beautiful. And this is, hands down, this is absolutely one of the best Jeff Death fluffies I've ever seen. And I saw this in Frank's collection room. I'm like, oh my God. I had them years ago and I got rid of them. And I'm like, now it's like, good luck finding a Jeff Death fluffy. But that, when I said, Frank, I gotta have that fluffy one day. He goes, someday, and there it is. But just killer. And that brings us to talking about the Jeff Death Nate. Like, I don't have one of those yet. That's one thing I'm missing in this collection is a Nate from Death Studios. So I am on the hunt. If anyone out there has one, I am absolutely interested. It must be in really good condition, obviously. But I am looking for a Death Studios Nate. That's got the great old hair. The later ones, Jeff did not use this hair on them at all. It's more of a fluffy hair, I'll call it. Now, last but not least, we're going to talk about the last two Creepshow masks in this lineup of monsters, and that is the two pieces on the ends. You can tell they're not the greatest looking out of the bunch, but they are cool. And those two masks are by Topstone Industries. Yes, Topstone, the people that got the same molds the other guys got from Tom Savini, yet they sought out to make the cheapest versions possible of the Creepshow masks. And, you know, they are pretty mediocre compared to the rest, but they are still very cool. And you can find them out there on eBay. The other ones, forget it. If they surface, you're going to be paying a shitload of money. We could dub the Topstone versions the poor man's Creepshow masks, you know? I hate to say something like that, but man, the other ones, you're going to be dropping serious cash if these pop up on eBay. even something like that is going to go for a lot. But you could probably pick these things. I've seen these sell recently for $150, you know, each, maybe. My buddy Kevin foam filled his Topstone Nate, and it looked amazing. So Topstone like used the same exact colors that Ed used on the early '82 Distortions version. They're almost identical. Look at that. And that Nate, the rubber's much thinner than the other versions out there. It's very thin, but he's very big. That will fit on your head a lot better than the version from Distortions when it comes to the Nate. I don't know how the Jeff Death version is. I've never really seen one in my hands. But Savini's mold was always, I think the Nate mold that Tom had was on the smaller side for those particular effects appliances. And that fluffy mask is so mediocre. It's very small. It doesn't even retain the shape that the others have. I mean, the others look like the Crate Beast, you know? It's like, here's the Crate Beast, there's the Crate Beast. The weird cousin from Ohio. Well, I hope you had fun looking at these masks. I still have a couple more things to show you upstairs that I couldn't lug down here. So take one last look here before we go up. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I do, because Creepshow, besides being an amazing film, Creepshow brings me back to the early 80s. Back to that time when I was reading Fangoria and so in love with this genre, having no clue where it would end up today. You know what I mean? The vintage horror thing, the VHS thing, it's like, who knew? Who freaking knew back then? One thing we did know is that it was all awesome. All right, we're in my guest room now because I couldn't lug this thing down to the mask room without fear of damaging the contents of this amazing case. I'm about to show you this giant case. What is this? Some of you out there know exactly what this is. Oh yeah. Oh, wrong end. Hold on. This, look at, that's the size of a bed. It's a huge wallet with my giant driver's license inside. No, it's a movie poster portfolio. Yes, this is an amazing system for storing vintage movie posters. And you know, I have so many posters rolled up in tubes, hundreds, probably 200 posters still. This, however, is a way I can enjoy them. You know, I can still look at them. They're easy to get to. They're in a big book. It stores neatly under the bed. You know, nothing happens to them. They're nice, they're flat, and, you know, it's easy to get to them. But I'm not going to show you everything in this book because we're saving this for another video. Hold on. You got to look away. Oh, there's some good stuff in here. Oh, all right. Well, since we're on Creepshow, here's a beautiful Creepshow 2-1 sheet. Oh, how many Videodrome posters can a child have? All right, let's get... They're in no particular order. We're gonna skip ahead. There's 50 posters in here, by the way, if you're wondering how many are in this book. I added extra sheets to this system. I bought extra sheets, so there's 50. I believe this holds 50 now. They don't come with 50. I will tell you the name of what this is. I will put it on the screen because I highly recommend it. Especially when you learn how to put the posters in carefully. It takes a long time to fill your book up. Unless you want to screw up your posters hastily. No, take the time to do it right. And I'll talk about more on that when we do the video on these posters. But hang on, I don't want to show you all my good shit. And we're back. Okay. Here is here's a genuine. This was a folded, was this a folded one sheet? Yeah, this was a folded original one sheet. Creepshow. This is the comic book cover, or this is the comic art one sheet. Now study this, because I'm going to show you something cool. Study the little pictures on the wall behind him. Salem's Lot, Dawn of the Dead, Carrie. Okay? Now, what the heck? Now it says The Shining. What's going on here? I swore that just said Salem's Lot. Now it's The Shining? What the frick? Here's the other version. So I've got both versions of the comic book art one sheets. So there's definitely two different ones. I don't know. Is there a third one? I don't really remember, but there's at least two of these. So I got both of them here. I think I may have another Creepshow poster as well. It's different, like a smaller one. I don't remember. But anyway, I had to pull this portfolio out. And I just got another one of these in the mail. I think they're like a few $100 or so, this portfolio system. Highly recommend it though. You know, the sleeves have one opening on the end. I suggest getting a super flat bed, okay, or a giant